joining us today. A very warm welcome to our webinar on strategy quality management with Lean Six Sigma. My name is Kelly and I'll be your host for today's sessions. We are excited to have participants from all across the ASEAN region. This reflects how strong and growing interest in quality management and continuous improvement. So just a quick note on housekeeping before we get started. All lines will be muted and camera will be off. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box right below. We'll pick them up during the Q&A towards the end of the sessions. Right, just a quick look on today's webinars where we will explore on the 4 key areas of how organizations, regardless of the size or industry, how to eliminate inefficiency and streamline processes by using Lean Six Sigma. And secondly, we look at how to implement continuous improvement strategies with accuracy and discipline. Thirdly, we'll talk about what it takes to build a culture of excellence that drives long-term success. And finally, how you can transform operation in a way that inspires meaningful and lasting changes across your organizations. So without further ado, let me introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Anthony Dadula, BSI Global Training Technical Leads. Anthony, over to you, please.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm happy and honored to be in this webinar to share with you the latest update on quality management and as a management system, and of course, how we can embed and enrich our quality management system application through Lean Six Sigma. I'm Anthony, as was already introduced by Kelly, and I'm the Global Training Technical Lead for Quality and Business Excellence. I directly report to the head office, now based in central London in Covent Garden. We are BSI, and basically BSI is more than 120 years institution, and it is incorporated by the Royal Charter of the Royal Family of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We are a profit for purpose organization. We reinvest our profits to develop standards that benefit society across the globe. And our main mission is to help organizations and even professionals, individuals achieve their goals and grow sustainably while balancing the pursuit of profit with the well-being of the planet and its people. We are globally present as an integrated global enterprise, and we are able to serve clients from 87 countries, 87 offices across 31 countries in the world, and more than 5,500 colleagues worldwide. We are operating in 193 countries across our consulting services, system certification services, product certification, regulatory services, sales and business development, and marketing and supporting business delivery through HR, IT, finance, management, legal, communications, and even facilities. And obviously, we aim to have a sustainable world through our sustainability pursuits, our digital trust portfolio, at the same time, our quality and business excellence portfolio. So to begin our session about quality management with Lean Six Sigma, I'd like to engage you with some numbers. So did you know that according to the Project Management Institute, PMI, ineffective communication leads to project failure 1/3 of the time and drains about $75 million out of every $1 billion invested. However, good news is Lean Six Sigma techniques can significantly enhance communication and reduce errors, and thus saving organizations substantial amounts of money. And I didn't just pick it out of thin air. It is based on their report last 2018 titled The High Cost of Low Performance. Another intriguing fact is that based on research by McKinsey and Company, they've suggested that up to 70% of all organizational change efforts fail to deliver the desired results, often due to what? Inefficient processes and hidden waste. However, good news is Lean Six Sigma have already proven to help identify and eliminate wastes. thus boosting efficiency and increasing the likelihood of successful change initiatives. Another study shows that for every customer complaint, there are 26 other unhappy customers who remain silent. And the good news is, again, Lean Six Sigma emphasizes customer centricity, which will enable your organizations to better understand and meet customer needs, thereby enhancing customer satisfaction and loyalty. As if you haven't had enough, despite the emphasis on innovation, a survey conducted by Accenture found that 96% of executives struggle to implement innovation in their organizations. But the good news is, again, Lean Six Sigma fosters a culture of continuous improvement, thus breaking down barriers to innovation by streamlining processes and empowering employees, us, to contribute to change. And the last but not the least, with globalization, our organizations face increasingly stiff competition, and we know that. I believe you've heard from some of your friends, or even within your family circles, that there has been some downsizing happening, all because they couldn't compete globally. So according to the World Economic Forum, 70% of executives believe that process improvement initiatives are essential. These are not nice to have. So essential for what? Maintaining competitiveness in the global market. And that is where Lean Six Sigma is vital. Why? Because it provides the tools and methodologies needed to drive efficiency and excellence, enabling your organizations and even yourselves as professionals to thrive in today's hyper-competitive landscape. So these numbers underscore what? The critical importance of Lean Six Sigma and other process improvement methodologies. So I hope at this point, I have demystified that Lean Six Sigma is not a tool. It is a way of work. It is a system. It is a management system that must be embedded in your way of working. And this can address various challenges faced by your organizations today. So I'll be discussing these key topics. I'll help you understand how to pinpoint and eliminate inefficiencies to optimize processes. I'll also share with you how you can master the art of implementing continuous improvement chain strategies. So likened to a master class, basically. And how can we cultivate a culture of excellence that drives lasting success? Because that's one of the things that are being faced by organizations and even individuals who were trained in process improvement methodologies, tools, and of course in Lean Six Sigma belt courses. And of course, how do we implement change? And I will share with you some of the best practices that I've had for the last almost 30 years that I have been in the professional world, and how can you transform your operations and inspire change? And then we'll have our Q&A. So how do we do this? How do we pinpoint and eliminate inefficiencies to optimize your processes? So let's start with what we have got as a global landscape, our external environment, as was, if you're familiar with ISO 9001, which is, by the way, undergoing its changes, which is due to be released as an international standard next year by autumn next year, 2026. And you have and by the way, most of you, if not all of you, might have heard about the draft international standard that is being sent across different organizations and entities for your comments. So basically, it is evolving, and with that evolution, obviously the trigger with that evolution is the evolution in our global landscape, and one of them is obviously the United States tariffs, and this is shaping, for one, this region, ASEAN region. The ASEAN region obviously have got a tiered system, and this is what the United States called as the Liberation Day, as of this month, that significantly obviously impacts global supply chain. So the revised tariffs reflect a mix of reductions and increases based on bilateral negotiations, trade alignment, and strategic interests. And I believe you're familiar with the reduction of the tariff rates in Vietnam, 46% to 20%. In Thailand, 36% to 19%. In Indonesia, it was reduced from 32% to 19%. In Singapore, it remains 10%. However, in the Philippines, it increased from 17% to 19%. So the rest of Southeast Asia has got reduction. So Malaysia reduced from 24% to 19%. So what's the point? So the reshuffling has intensified, and the search for reliable and efficient partners across at least Southeast Asian countries are ongoing. So countries that secured favorable tariff adjustments like Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand are now better positioned to attract foreign investment and manufacturing relocation. So by embedding continuous improvement into their DNA, ASEAN-based firms at least can differentiate themselves and become preferred partners for global companies navigating tariff-induced disruptions. So the new US tariff system is not just a policy shift, it's a strategic realignment. So ASEAN nations must respond with agility, innovation, and operational excellence. Those that embrace the quality management systems, which is obviously aiming for customer satisfaction. And with customer satisfaction comes the retention of your revenue stream, and in fact, opening new revenue streams, and which would mean continuity of your business. So therefore, how do we enhance this? We must invest in efficiency at scale, like process optimization. So it will be the best decisive factor in determining which countries will thrive in these new conditions and best equipped to thrive in this competitive environment. So the timing is ideal for every region, not just Southeast Asia. So, but for one, Southeast Asia is experiencing a surge in investments. And this is according to the ASEAN Investment Report last year. This region is poised to maximize production, boost services with quality and efficiency, being the key to gaining a competitive advantage. So this region has the potential to absorb more manufacturing volume if it can resolve infrastructure bottlenecks. And investors are keen to diversify their supply chain. And obviously, the Southeast Asian nations are becoming an attractive destination for these investments. So by focusing on improving infrastructure and operational efficiency, countries in this region can position themselves as reliable and competitive partners in the global market. So why do traditional methods fall short? Traditional operations often rely on reactive manual processes, and we all know that whether we like it or not, we have gone through some of them. Unfortunately, for some, they are still going through those, right? And these are characterized by fragmented, siloed departments. So this lack of integration and absence of data-driven decision making makes it extremely challenging for us, for organizations to remain competitive. So to thrive, companies need to adopt more integrated and data-centric approaches. And that is the core behind this webinar. So organizations, our first call for you is for you not to remain static, because you risk becoming obsolete. Why? Because we are rapidly changing, and I will come through to that later. How are we changing? And I suppose you know it by now, right? So we must not cling to outdated practices that lead to decline. So what do we need? Continuous improvement is a must. Again, I'm sounding like a broken record now. This is not a nice to have, and neither is this is not just a strategy. It is a necessity for all of us to survive and grow. So by constantly evaluating and enhancing your processes, you can build resilience, and adapt to new challenges. So this must be your proactive approach, which can ensure that you stay competitive and you can navigate the uncertainties of your markets. You must embrace continuous improvement because these foster innovation, these drive efficiency, and these prepare your organizations for future success. So it's about really creating a culture where change is welcomed and improvement is ongoing and ensuring long-term viability. So what are some of the key benefits for countries adopting Lean Six Sigma? So Lean Six Sigma must become a strategic necessity in ASEAN. So first, it drives operational excellence. How? You can streamline processes, you can reduce waste, and you can cut costs, obviously. So this directly improves supply chain reliability, making your operations more resilient and responsive to the global shifts. Secondly, it supports workforce development. So by investing in Lean Six Sigma training, your organizations boost your employee skills, their productivity, and their problem-solving capability. Thirdly, it enables export market expansion because higher efficiency and quality open doors to new global opportunities, especially as companies seek alternatives due to shifting US tariffs. So for every countries that you have got, whether you are within Southeast Asia or not, Lean Six Sigma strengthens your position as a manufacturing hub, particularly in electronics, medical devices. For Singapore, one thing, it helps maintain leadership in high value sectors like biotech and advanced manufacturing, even amid tariff disruption. So in short, Lean Six Sigma is the playbook for boosting efficiency, lowering costs, and winning in the global market. So how do we effectively um begin, um, your effective improvement with clarity? So the first step is to map and assess processes. Why? Because you need to visualize how tasks are performed across workflows. And this gives you a clear end-to-end view of operations and help you understand where things stand. And I believe most, if not all of you, have been doing this, your typical boxes and arrows, right? Next, we identify bottlenecks and waste. So bottlenecks are what? These are points where work slows down and gets stuck. I believe you can all attest to that, right? Right. So somewhere somehow you have had this. So while waste includes any steps that don't add value, spotting these issues allows us to target the root causes of inefficiency. So finally, we prioritize high impact changes. We must focus on improvements that deliver the greatest gains in speed, cost, and quality. Why? Because these ensure our efforts lead to meaningful and sustainable results. In short, process mapping helps us see the truth, and targeted improvements help us act on it. That's how we drive operational excellence. So moving to the next topic, which is, the mastery of the art of implementing continuous improvement strategies with precision. So let me begin with Lean, because I have been mentioning Lean Six Sigma, right? So what is it then? So let me explain it very briefly. So what is Lean? So Lean is about doing more with less materials, space, machines, and manpower for some cases, while still delivering high quality and meeting customer expectations. So it is a mindset and a method focused on reducing costs, improving reliability, responding quickly to change, and most importantly, eliminating wastes. Anything that doesn't add value or disrupts the flow of work are wastes. So Example of that would be if you have to wait, then that is a waste, right? If you have to over process something, then that is a waste. And therefore, those do not add value. Take note, value are seen from the eyes of the customer. So us, basically. So that is what we call as value analysis. So lean helps organization, even us, even at home, even your day-to-day life, become more agile, efficient, and customer focused. It's not just about cutting resources. It's about maximizing, again, the value or the worth. So with what? With smart, streamlined processes, and that would lead to elimination of your wastes in your operations. So next is Six Sigma. So let's talk about this mathy term. So Six Sigma is a structured, data-driven approach to process improvement. So it's not just about numbers. It's not just about statistics, hypothesis tests, ANOVA, and whatnot. To bore you with those French, it uses the DMAIC methodology, which means define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. To what? To identify and reduce variation and defects in key processes. In layman's term, variation means are inconsistencies. So the core idea is simple. Variation can be identified, measured, and then eliminated or controlled. Again, variation is our inconsistencies. So we need to answer the question, why? Why are we inconsistent? So to do this, Six Sigma as a methodology relies on a powerful set of what? Practical, graphical, and statistical tools, all proven, all effective when used in the right context. So, but it isn't just toolkit. Its strength basically lies in the rigor and rhythm of DMAIC, which I will explain in a while. So this structure ensures that tools are applied at the right time. So when I speak about tools, these are um, the root cause analysis, which is most of the time we are using the fishbone diagram. That is a tool. Sometimes we embed or we combine that with the YY analysis. That is a tool. Another tool would be the SIPOC, which stands for supplier input, process output, and customer. Another tool would be failure mode and effects analysis, the risk analysis tool. There are plenty of tools. Statistical process control, SPC is another tool. MSA is another tool. Measurement system analysis, that is. So basically, this must be applied at the right time. So likened to a doctor being a doctor, they don't use, say, CT scan in like a pinky pain, right? So I'm just exaggerating things. So basically, you use these tools relative to the nature of your problem, right? Why? Because you want to drive objective decisions and lasting improvements. In short, Six Sigma helps organizations make smarter data-backed changes that lead to better quality, lower costs, and more consistent performance, as opposed to, I think, I believe, right? I think the reason why your CSAT is decreasing is because I believe the reason why you have got lower yield is because. So the only point that will be taken, those assertions, is through verifiable data, through objective evidence. Okay, I hope that makes sense. That is the discipline behind Six Sigma. So the integration of these two, Lean and Six Sigma, is really the power of both worlds. So it combines the strengths of two powerful methodologies, namely Lean and Six Sigma, to drive process excellence. So it delivers three key benefits: faster response times, better quality, lower cost. And we should know that by now. So Lean, again, just to recap, focuses on eliminating waste and optimizing resource use. So whether it's time, materials, or manpower. So it's about streamlining workflows to ensure smooth and efficient operations, while Six Sigma targets process variation, again, inconsistencies. It uses data and structured problem solving to ensure consistent high quality outcomes. So together, these create a balanced approach that would eventually eliminate reactive, manual, traditional methods, silo departments, and of course, lacking data-driven decisions. So what is the DMAIC improvement process then? So DMAIC, the define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, is the backbone of both Lean and Six Sigma when they are combined. Of course, this is coming from Six Sigma as a discipline, as a way of work. Why? Because this is a structured, repeatable approach to process improvement. So let me help you understand this. So by breaking it down, define is where you identify the problem or opportunity. You will set clear goals and understand customer requirements. This is where you institutionalize your business case, your project charter, your project financial benefit uh, calculation. Obviously, on the onset at the defined phase, that's just a forecast, right? And then as you progress to the measure phase, this is where you gather data to understand current performance and establish a baseline. So it's likened to a doctor really checking what is really happening to you as their patient. So they will check on you using their stethoscope, their sphygma manometer, their thermometer and whatnot, right? And then eventually if they need further analysis of your case, they will use data to uncover the root causes of the inefficiencies or defects. So likened to you being asked to, okay, could you go to the lab? This is my order to the lab for your blood to be tested, and then go back to me for me to analyze what might be the root cause of that problem that you have presented to me. So that's the DMNA. Then and only then that doctor can develop and implement targeted solutions to address those root causes. And that's the improve phase. That is where the RX, the prescriptions come in. So basically, again, in this methodology, this is a disciplined way of work, sequential way of work that will unearth what might be the root cause or causes of the problem that you have defined on the onset. Then and only then we can control, meaning put systems in place to sustain the improvement over time. So that's the discipline behind the MAIC. So it ensures that every step leads to measurable, sustainable results. So if you have been doing this for the longest time and you have got recurrence of the same problem, then you might have missed some of the key factors or important factors in each of these phases, basically. So you'll see also the use of mathematical notation. Y is a function of x. Y is equal to f, and then open close parentheses, x. So this is where outputs are called y's, process outputs, that means, and inputs or controls are x's. So the relationship is expressed as y is a function of x, meaning the output depends on the input, right? So there's no rocket science behind this. So by identifying and controlling the critical x's, we can predict and improve outcomes. Whether it's product quality, process efficiency, or cost reduction, this equation must help you focus on the vital few factors that truly drive performance. So, however, please be mindful that it operates still on a rubbish in, rubbish out, like to your AI models, your large language model, basically. So you have to institutionalize a certain way to assess how you measure. That's one of the key disciplines in Lean Six Sigma. Basically, in that one discipline or tool, the measurement system analysis. Okay. So in doing so, you can optimize and control your inputs, and the outputs will look after themselves. Okay. So one of the classic examples would be, why am I always producing like burnt fries, say for example, in the fast food chain? Because you have set your oil temperature too high, right? And then your residence time in that fryer is still the same, so you will burn that. So just to oversimplify things. So how do we then cultivate a culture of excellence? Because that's one of the most important things, if not the important thing, in sustaining your gain. So as they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? So that quote reminds us that even the best plans will fail without the right culture to support them. So to build a culture of excellence, commitment is needed at every level, especially from leadership, the top management, basically, to frontline teams. So leadership commitment is key. Leaders must actively support improvement efforts and what allocate resources. So their actions set the tone for the entire organization. What else? Employee involvement. Why? Because these drive innovation. So when people are engaged, they take ownership, they contribute ideas and collaborate more effectively. Last but not the least, recognition and feedback. Why? Because these keep momentum going. So we celebrate contributions and we provide regular feedback because these reinforce positive behaviors and encourages continuous growth. So creating this culture isn't a one-time initiative though. It's an ongoing journey. So when these elements are embedded into your daily operations, your organizations can achieve sustained improvement and, of course, long term success. So, how do we embrace innovation in process improvement? Process improvement, as we know, is evolving. So, we're moving from traditional methods to what we can say as version 2.0. And we know that there are key four technologies driving this transformation. AI, right? Because it allows machines to mimic human intelligence already, automating tasks, and we all know that, right? We cannot not have that from here on out. Blockchain. So this is obviously decentralizing ledger technology. It ensures secure, transparent transactions. So it's especially valuable in industries where trust and traceability are critical. Robotic process automation. So these use software bots to automate repetitive rule-based tasks such as your chatbot, right? So it's ideal for streamlining back office operations and of course reducing manual errors. And last but not the least, we have had this since the dawning of the internet. Basically, it's the IoT, Internet of Things, because it connects devices to gather and exchange data in real time. So this enables smarter monitoring and whatnot. So together, these technologies are redefining how we approach process improvement. It must be smarter, it must be faster, and it must be more connected. So that's the springboard behind the core of this webinar, the phrase strategic quality management with Lean Six Sigma, or what we can also call building resilience through Lean Six Sigma. So it is evolving to meet the demands of this rapidly changing world. So this approach blends proven methodologies with human-centered thinking and also aligns well with the upcoming changes in ISO 9001 2026. So beginning with this key point, tech versus human. So while technology like automation and AI plays vital role in modern quality systems, focusing solely on tech can overlook the nuanced needs of the people involved. So Lean Six Sigma must evolve to balance efficiency with empathy, ensuring that solutions are not just smart, but also meaningful. So that brings us to design thinking. So this methodology places humans at the center of problem solving. It encourages us to understand the user's needs, their motivations and pain points through empathy, creativity, right? Uh, of course, when combined with Lean Six Sigma, design thinking adds layer of innovation that drives deeper engagement and better outcomes. I've been engaging with different organizations and professionals who are qualifying to become green belt, black belt, even master black belt. And one of the questions that I will be asking them is, can you see yourself doing this. Okay, so if they cannot see themselves doing their proposed solution, then that is not a good solution. And guess what? It was just recently termed as design thinking, but I've been doing that for like more than 25 years now. And again, the context is we have to be in the shoes of those who will be doing the process day in and day out. Okay, which leads us to our third point: complementing the traditional frameworks. Again, the used to DMAIC in its purest. So we complement it, as I've said, design thinking. So design thinking doesn't replace Lean Six Sigma; it enhances it. While Lean Six Sigma focuses on reducing waste and improving quality, design thinking, as I've said already, it brings in human-centered innovation. Together, they create a more holistic approach to process improvement. And so let's talk about innovation and engagement. So by integrating, again, design thinking into process improvement initiatives, teams, us being leaders, right, shift from problem-centric to solution-centric thinking. So this must spark creativity. This must increase ownership and would lead to more sustainable results, right? So we need to engage. And this is where the power of many comes in. When we combine Lean Six Sigma design thinking and the insights of diverse teams, we foster a culture of innovation and continuous improvement. So this collaborative mindset is essential for building organizational resilience. So which brings us to our final highlight: change management and continuous improvement. So implementing new methodologies requires effective change management. Organizations must create environments where teams are empowered to continuously refine processes. You must adapt to change and embrace learning. So connecting this to the upcoming ISO 9001 2026, the draft international standard DIS was released 27th August 2025. While the revision is evolutionary, it is not a complete overhaul. And you might be hearing this for the first time. So it introduces key updates to where it has emphasis on quality culture now and ethical behavior under clause 5. It is reorganizing risk and opportunity planning under clause 6. It has integrated the climate change considerations under clauses 4.1 and 4.2, and it has expanded Annex A guidance now, including how to factor in emerging technologies like automation and digital transformation. So these updates are aligned perfectly with Lean Six Sigma's principles, but they also reinforce the need for flexibility and adaptability in today's dynamic environment. So from a training perspective, it is important to note that courses based on ISO 9001 2026 will not be available or officially recognized. Why? Because any training courses claiming to cover the new requirements would be speculative. Because until the final draft international standard is released next year, we can't be sure about the final international standard. However, now is the ideal time to strengthen your foundational knowledge through existing courses like awareness course, which will introduce you to ISO 9001 principles, internal auditor training for maintaining QMS through audits, implementation training for building a QMS from the ground up, and lead auditor training for leading audits across all levels: first party, second party, third party. First being internal audit, second party meaning your interested party audit. That includes supplier and third party manufacturer perhaps, or logistics, and then third party audit, which means you will be a certifying auditor. Okay. And of course, as BSI, we have the fundamentals of auditing, which is based in ISO 19011. This is covering auditing principles across management systems. So in summary, by combining Lean Six Sigma with human-centered approaches like design thinking, and aligning it with evolving standards like ISO 9001 2026, your organization can build resilience. It can foster innovation and thrive in the face of uncertainty, including that transition that you might have if you are certified under ISO 9001 2015. So let me share with you some of the best practices when these organizations implement quality management system with Lean Six Sigma. So let's look at how this is a busy slide. I don't intend for you to go through each of these. We'll share this slide with you for you to digest it personally. But I'm just sharing this for me to emphasize that leading companies are applying Lean Six Sigma principles to drive performance. Toshiba, for one, they use data analytics for predictive maintenance. So by analyzing sensor data with machine learning, they can detect potential equipment failures before they happen, which eventually minimize downtime and saving millions annually. Toyota, for one, they apply lean management, although they don't call it lean management, they call it the TPS, Toyota Production System. In fact, you wouldn't hear it from them verbatim, we're doing TPS. You can just hear it from them telling you that this is how we do things, okay? But the world branded as Toyota Production System because obviously that's the production system of Toyota, right? So how do they do this? They standardize and basically engage their employees in their processes. So their approach empowers frontline workers to identify and act on inefficiencies. They have tools like, and this might sound familiar, Kanban boards, which help visualize workflow and reduce delays. They have got Andon lights basically, so which helps them understand what is happening in a certain machine at one glance. Basically, of course, Kaizen is their way of work. Uh, it's continuous improvement. Transliterating it, it means change good. Change, and then Zen means good. So Huawei also implemented visual management uh, as in the form of boards across their factories. So these boards track real-time performance against targets, helping their teams stay aligned and consistently meet production goals. So these examples show Lean Six Sigma isn't just theory; it's practical. It is proven. This approach delivers results in complex, high volume environment. But wait, there's more. Lean isn't just for manufacturing also. It's transforming services, healthcare, and digital innovation. So letting agencies are using Lean to streamline operations and reduce waste. So with support from consulting partners, they are now improving customer service and operational efficiency. Hospitals, through one of the books that was released worldwide, Lean Hospital, they're adopting lean management to enhance patient care. So how do they do that? They standardize processes and reduce delays. They're improving outcomes and optimizing resource use. And in digital transformation, so integrating lean principles ensures that technology investments are aligned with value creation. Again, value. So what's in it for me, right? Can I pay for that, right? So it helps teams focus on what truly matters, delivering faster, better, and more cost-effective solutions. So again, these examples show how lean is versatile and impactful across industries, not just in manufacturing. So it's about creating value, reducing waste, and continuously improving, no matter the sector. And I'm about to end with this section. So I will provide an overview of, again, the traditional Lean Six Sigma principles and methodologies and discuss the need for evolution and adaptation in Lean Six Sigma to address changing landscapes. I'll introduce you to the concept of Lean Six Sigma 2.0, which is I call as Agile Lean Six Sigma. So why? Because as we look to future-proof our organizations, it's essential to equip ourselves with the right tools and technologies. So the traditional Lean Six Sigma tools, of course, using the DMAIC backbone, root cause analysis, right? They are still valuable, don't take me wrong, but they may need to be complemented with new approaches that are better suited for today's rapidly changing landscape. One such approach is Agile Lean Six Sigma, which we're doing already, and we are partnering with organizations and even professionals qualifying for our belt levels. So it combines the principles of Lean Six Sigma with agile methodologies borrowed from software development. So this emphasizes collaboration, also flexibility, and rapid iteration. So these allow your teams to respond quickly to changing environments and priorities. So let me just encourage you to ask these questions. What challenges are you facing in adapting Lean Six Sigma to future-proof your organization? And how can we help address those challenges in partnering with you? So while Lean Six Sigma is a powerful methodology for process improvement, again, adapting it to future-proof your organization presents these challenges. Are we focusing on rigidity versus agility? Because Lean Six Sigma has a structured, almost rigid approach, the future demands agility and adaptability. To respond to this changing market dynamics and customer needs, we must need to balance and structure our problem-solving approach, with the ability to pivot and innovate. Is it data fluency and analytics? Remember, Lean Six Sigma traditionally relies on historical data. However, the future demands leveraging a wider range of data, its sources, including real-time and unstructured data. So that's why one of the most powerful statistical software right now that we're using, which is Minitab, has got their, example, live SPC. You can integrate that function of Minitab in your system, and then that will feed and to us, right? In determining what is happening in that process, in that machine. So we must equip our workforce with data fluency and advanced analytics to complement our Lean Six Sigma way of work. Is it about automation and emerging technologies? Again, AI are transforming processes, right? And we must integrate these advancements with Lean Six Sigma. And guess what? As an organization and perhaps your current partner and even your future partner, we can now deliver our training courses in Lean Six Sigma using AI, large language models. Employee engagement and buy-in. So the success of Lean Six Sigma hinges on employee engagement. I have been expressing that, okay, since I've got the floor earlier, to engage our people. So for a future-proof approach, organizations need to move beyond top-down implementation. And you must foster a culture of continuous improvement where your employees, yourselves, will be empowered to identify and contribute solutions. And last but not the least, obviously, we won't be here at all if we are not considering sustainability. So traditionally, Lean Six Sigma, you might have this stereotype of Lean Six Sigma. We might just be looking at the efficiency gains without fully considering environmental or social impact. But guess what? As you look into, lessening, if not eliminating waste, you are directly contributing to the lessening of environmental waste, basically. So we need to have that in mind, that Lean Six Sigma practices optimization of processes for both efficiency and environmental and social responsibility. So by acknowledging these challenges and adapting Lean Six Sigma accordingly, you and your organizations can leverage its strengths while preparing for demands of the future. Right? So I've now come to my last part, which is the Q&A. So I now hand the floor to my colleague Kelly. So have we got something from our attendees now?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Anthony, for that insightful presentations. So just before we go into the Q&A, let's quickly recap. Lean Six Sigma help us to streamline processes, drive continuous improvement, and build a culture of excellence. Ultimately, it's about inspiring lasting changes in how we work and deliver value. Now, we'd like to open the floor for Q&A, so please continue to type in your questions in the Q&A box, and we will do our best to address as many as possible. Let's take our first questions. What are some challenges organizations face when implementing Lean Six Sigma in the APAC region?
Wow. So I've started my presentation with that, right? Well, specifically with the U.S. tariff tiered system, right? That Liberation Day, right? So the key challenges include cultural diversity, for one, in APAC. You know? And at the same time, the hierarchical decision making and varying levels of process maturity. So success really requires strong leadership, and management buy-in, top management buy-in must be in place. Otherwise, this is like a superhero, transforming your organization. You will send one person, or in fact, like say a cohort of five, and then they will be your what, Justice League, your Avenger that will transform your organization. That's not how it works. It involves everyone in the organization. That's why, in the I will be a bit technical here. In the discipline of Six Sigma, which was adopted by Lean Six Sigma, we have got these levels as white belts, being all of the employees to be aware and oriented to what is Lean Six Sigma about. So you've started with this one already. So in fact, you just need to have that, at least 3.5 hour on-demand course, which we have got, for you to fully understand what's Lean Six Sigma, what are the tools that are being used. So that's for white belt. The yellow belt would be the team members, basically, of the green belts. Green belts are part-time process improvement leaders, basically. Black belts are, by design, full-time process improvement leaders. And then the master black belts are the technical experts who are coaching, guiding these levels. Well, black belts can coach green belt down, and green belts can coach yellow belts down, basically. So that's how it works. The hierarchical decision making must be in place, and of course, varying levels of process maturity, which is critical. So again, success requires strong leadership, localized training, and alignment with, of course, your regional business norms to embed continuous improvement sustainably. I hope that answers that question. Thanks for that, Kelly, and thanks for the person who raised that question.
There's another interesting one coming in from the audience. Will there be any major changes expected for the ISO 9001 2026 version, or is it only minor changes?
All right. Obviously, I'm not part of ISO, but I am part of the core team here at BSI, who led or who is leading the changes in the technical working committee and in ISO. So the main point of ISO, well, through BSI, is not to have a major change in the requirements, but it will be evolutionary to include purposeful management of your quality, which is basically, again, quality management is not just about better product, aesthetically, or it looks good, or it must function well and whatnot. Ultimately, it must satisfy the customer, right? So when we speak of quality management system, it's the way of work to satisfy your customer. Okay, if I could just laymanize it. So the point in integrating these emerging technologies, quality culture, embedding the quality culture, promoting quality culture, basically, this is in clause 5, is to really be purposeful in those. So going back to the question of major, it is not a major overhaul, but obviously there will be transition. You will transition to it if you want to be certified to ISO 9001 2026, right? You have to transition to the new standard specified across, guess what? Still high level structure. Okay, clauses 4 to 10 are still the auditable clauses, 7 auditable clauses. So you don't need to be anxious about, oh, are there new requirements? Are there new clauses? No, they're still, they will still stand Okay, clause 4 is still organization and its context. Clause 5 is still leadership. Clause still planning. I don't want to bore you with that. Okay, but then yeah, again, it will not be a major overhaul. Yeah.
Totally agree with that. So we have our next question is something very common that we used to get. What is the difference between DMAIC to PDCA?
Okay. There is no difference. It is very similar. It is very similar. So PDCA stands for Plan, Do, Check, Act, right? So let me demystify this, and again, using layman's term. So in defining, you are planning, basically, and defining your current pain points. Remember, I've used the metaphor doctor-patient relationship, right? So who is the doctor here? The doctor or doctors are the process improvement team members led by the certified or qualified belt, green belt, blah 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 blah. So you are the doctors, whether you like it or not, business doctors of that essence. What is your patient? The patient is your process, and it has got symptoms. So, say for example, the customer complaints are increasing. That's a symptom, actually. So, in defining the problem, you are planning what you will be doing, basically, right? So the PND. I'm looking at the PND right now. So I'm planning what I will be doing. So I should define what is currently happening. Okay, so that's define is to plan. Okay, and then measure is basically technically doing what you want to happen in your current painful process, right? So you measure what is currently happening, like, and again, to the doctor, assessing what is currently happening with this patient of mine. Why is he or she complaining a headache? Okay, so I will interview what might be the 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 family history, medical history, his current, social history. Has he gone drinking the night before? That's why he has got a headache. Hence, that might just be what, a hangover, right? So basically, measure is a part, a small portion defining it or planning it, and then essentially doing what? Doing improvement, right? So what is improvement about? It's turning 180 degrees. Basically, you're turning your back on that. So measure is do. What about analyze? Analyze is also doing. Okay? Analyze is the doing phase of the PDCA. So you analyze what might be the reason why that problem is persisting. And then essentially improve is analyze also is on the check side of the PDCA. So as I analyze, I'm checking what is currently happening, right? And then that would bring me to the improved phase, which is basically on the act side, PDCA act side. Okay? Improve is to act. And then control is also at the act. Why do we need control? Well, you might ask, but it's already there. We have already institutionalized the solution. It should work by itself. Unfortunately, if we are still in this world, we are within the purview and the mastery of the highest form of being, who are human beings. Humans are flawed, born to make mistake, right? As the one of the songs say, right? So that's why we need to ensure that we sustain the gain. Hence the control phase, which is basically an act in the PDCA. I hope that makes sense. It's a storytelling answer, but basically it answers the PDCA cycle in the form of DMAIC.
We have time for one last question.
Mm,
So if
yeah.
we couldn't get to your questions today, don't worry, we'll follow up with you after the sessions.
Mm,
So last question, Anthony. What strategies can you advise to quality management representative in
mm.
recommending to their top management to adapt Lean Six Sigma principle?
Okay. For one, you don't need to be a QMR to recommend improvement. And guess what? It is no longer a requirement to have a QMR, a quality management representative, since the dawning of like the 2008 version of the standard, right? 2008. 2015, the last and even the current version is not explicitly requiring a QMR. So going back to that question, what might you use as your support in recommending Lean Six Sigma? Well, go back to the standards requirement. Clauses 9 and 10. Okay, clauses 9 and 10. Clauses 9 and 10, well, clause 9 states that you have to monitor and evaluate performance. And how do you do that? I mean, could you just pick it out of the thin air saying that, oh, this process is performing well, blah, blah, blah. So the main question to validate that is, how did you say that? Why did you say that? What can attest to that assertion, basically? So therefore, there must be objective evidence to do that. And guess what? Lean Six Sigma gives you that discipline, because Lean Six Sigma is no longer I think or I believe way of work. You must support it with fact. Likened to, again, going back to my analogy of doctor-patient relationship. Could you just imagine, Kelly, if I am your doctor and then you are consulting me for your headache, perhaps chronic headache, and then I will tell you, Kelly, I think that might be caused by what? What would you feel? You will always counter question that by asking me, Doc, what made you say that? Doctor, what made you say that? Right? So I'm not just a doctor, right? Just to say that. Okay. So I should have a proof basically to say that. So that's for clause 9. Clause 10, what does clause 10 require us? Improvement, right? And that's the main point behind the DMAIC. In fact, the core in the DMAIC is the improve phase. It will not be a successful Lean Six Sigma process improvement project if you didn't improve anything. However, it all builds on the define phase. Guess what? I'll be getting ahead of myself because I believe I hope most of you will go back to us and ask us, how do we do this? How do we implement this effectively and efficiently? So guess what? The hardest part in the DMAIC is not the improve phase. In fact, it is the easiest, but it is the core, right? You will not be deemed as successful in implementing your Lean Six Sigma project if you didn't improve your process, basically. But the hardest part in the DMAIC is the define phase. Okay, because if you are not able to define properly your problem, then you will look at a different problem. Likened to some of the doctors, well, this is way beyond them right now. Operating on the right side of the brain when in fact the tumor is on the left side of the brain, because they have placed the X-ray wrong side up, basically. Right. So that's a long and winded answer to that question. How can you advocate Lean Six Sigma in your organization as QMR, or being part of an organization that is globally trading to another organization, because global trade would require at least an ISO 9001 2015 for now, and then in the future 2026 version certification, because that is an attestation that you are world class, basically. Right, Kelly.
Yeah, that's actually a very great question. Thank you for raising it. Now, we've come to the end of the webinar. Thank you very much for the great questions and for such an engaging discussions. All right, on behalf of BSI, thank you once again for joining us today. We hope you found this session valuable, and we look forward to seeing you at our future webinars. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So remember, process improvement isn't a destination, but a journey. Okay, so bye for now, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.